Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Undiscovered Beasts and Strange Phenomena. Please join our experienced and knowledgeable panel of hosts as we explore the great mysteries of our time: Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts, and unexplained phenomena.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to our show. Tonight, Mike and I are joined by Felipe, Big Dog Mendoza, a veteran researcher, somebody who spends a lot of time and effort into researching the Bigfoot phenomenon, someone who may well have seen a Bigfoot himself. We're honored to have him as a guest. Welcome, Big Dog.
Hey, thanks.
How are
Thanks
you
for having
tonight?
me. I'm good. I'm a little nervous.
Good. Well, no, you don't need to be nervous, man. It's only me and Mike. You just enjoy yourself. Just relax and enjoy the show. It's all good, I promise you. First question, and it's one that people are going to have for you. Why are you called Big Dog?
Well, I mean, it was kind of a nickname that kind of stuck with, I guess because, being fat and all, and I guess people didn't want to call me fat ass, so, it was either that or Big Dog, and, I worked out in the, like some bad neighborhoods, and, people wanted to address you, but they didn't know your name, so it was like, say, Big Dog, and I figured they were talking about me since I was big. And then, it just kind of stuck, and I, took off from there. It's been a while, a couple years. Well, it just kind of stuck.
Wow. So what sort of neighborhoods were you working out in? What was happening?
Oh, like some of the neighborhoods where if you drove through, you would lock your doors and clench your purse.
Oh, no, you poor guy.
Yeah, but you got to make a living.
Yeah, totally. And what were you doing? What were you working there doing?
Oh, I was doing a lot of car stereo work, fabrication, stuff like that, and some places can't keep people, so they'll offer you a whole bunch of money just to stick around, and I did it for the money, and they everybody would call me Big Dog out there, as we say in the hood.
In the hood. And where was it? What area was this when you were doing that?
It was out in East Houston. Kind of like
I don't
North
know you.
Huh?
I don't know Houston, so you'll have to tell me.
It's kind of like I guess a Telephone Road area. Kind of like in the projects.
And do you still live there, or do you live somewhere else?
Oh, I don't live there. I just work there. So it was probably like an hour, almost an hour away from where I live.
Right, it's just just part of what you did. So going on to the Bigfoot phenomenon, how did you get first interested in this?
Well, I mean, it's just like every kid, you're always fascinated by, monster movies or, any kind of monsters. Like I was a huge Godzilla fan for forever, still am.
Yeah.
And, I'd go in the libraries and check out books, and there'd be some, the only ones that would catch my attention were stuff about UFOs, aliens, Bigfoots, ghosts. Ghosts kind of freaked me out, so I wasn't really too much into ghosts. But yeah, so I would always, get books on Bigfoot, and then when I got older, then the internet came, and believe it or not, the first thing I started looking up was Bigfoot stuff, and
what was it about Bigfoot that attracted you, Big Dog?
I guess the mystery and stuff, the how could it exist now in this time, and and nobody's seen it. You know, I was kind of like how everybody. I had all them questions, the same ones I get now, like how come they never found a body, or how come this, or how come that. You know, I was that guy, and then I just kept digging and digging and digging, and and then YouTube came out, or any documentary on TV I could find, I was just glued to it, and I don't know, it was just something that just caught my attention. And I used to always say, one of these days I want to go out and look for Bigfoot, And finally that day came. I got on the Facebook and, started friending people. I didn't even know about the Bigfoot community yet. And one of my cousins was on there, and he was posing next to a footprint. And, first thing I sent him a message, hey, dude, is that a Bigfoot print? And he's like, yeah. He was kind of, I guess, freaking out that I was so into it, or, asking a million questions about it. And, and so he's like, hey, man, me and a couple of the guys are going to go check out some game cams that we had put out in Sam Houston National Forest, close to, out in Cold Spring, actually.
And there's been a lot of sightings in the Sam Houston National Forest. I mean, why did you pick that particular area?
For a long time, I didn't even think they were out in Texas until I saw this one documentary. I can't never think of the name of what it was, but it was where these two cops were, and I guess they had an experience, and the cop was freaking out, and he even started shooting off into the woods, and I was like, whoa, they're in Texas? Yeah, so then when my cousin was saying, yeah, there's some areas in Texas we're going to go change the cameras, they were going to change the batteries and check the SD cards on these cameras. They had a couple set out. And I was like, yeah, I would love to go do that. But, I haven't really had very much experience in the woods. I lived in the suburban area, and I worked in the city, so, that was as wild as they got. I mean, there's some places in the hood you don't want to go without, a pistol or anything, but
yeah.
Still. So, and then I was, trying to figure out what I should wear and what I needed to take, and I just went to the Army surplus store, and I bought me, like, some brand new combat boots, got me some tactical pants, and, got me a shirt, black T-shirt. I was dressed all in black. And out in Texas in the summer, that's probably the worst thing you can wear out in the sun, because you will just overheat. It'll just melt and cook you. So, and we finally got out there, and we were walking around, and we found a print, but it was just so weird because it was just one footprint in the middle of, it was in the woods, but it was just one print. And I was like, well, what is this? What is going on here? Why is there just one footprint? Is this guy jumping around, using the trees? I couldn't figure it out. And I just remember being so tired. I think we hiked about 6 miles into the woods. And my cousin, he had a camera wrapped around his neck, and I was getting bored, and I was like, man, this looking for Bigfoot is kind of sucks.
Just pause 1 second. So you saw that print before we carry on, because the story's good. What was it that persuaded you that print was interesting? Why was it any different to, say, a human footprint or another animal? What was it about it that you were persuaded by it, Big Dog?
It was barefooted, whatever it was. I mean, we were all wearing boots and shoes, so if somebody to be walking around out there barefooted, I thought that would be, a little weird. So that was kind of, and then the guys, they're like, Bigfoot researchers, and they were fascinated by it, taking pictures of it, and it wasn't really like detailed, but because if you know anything about Texas woods, there's a lot of pine litter and leaves everywhere, but this one was pretty good. So I mean, there may have been more impressions or whatever, but I didn't understand what I was looking at, and this is the first time ever seeing one or even being out in the woods in years. I mean, I used to go with my dad when I was younger, but we weren't looking for Bigfoot. We were just looking for firewood and stuff like that. So it was a whole different ball game this time. And we looked at the footprint, and they took pictures of it and measurements and all that. And I was just like, well, I was just weirded out by why was there just one print. I remember thinking that. And they couldn't explain it to me. I'm asking all these questions. They're like, well, I don't know why there's just one print. So, we just kept on cruising through the woods. And, I remember being tired because I was not in good shape at that time. And, I was tired. My feet were burning from wearing these brand new boots.
Yeah, you've got to break boots in gradually,
I learned that. I learned that day. I learned a lot of stuff that day. That was in May 2012. May 19th, 2012 is when that happened. And, so, we were walking around. My cousin had his camera around his neck, and they were leading. He was leading us, and it was two other guys, and I was in the back because I was having a hard time keeping up with the guys. And I hear my cousin go, "Oh, there goes one right there," and he's fumbling around with his camera and trying to take a picture. And I'm just kind of standing there like all confused, like what's going on? And then I see him messing around with his camera, trying to turn it on and trying to do all this stuff. Well, he gets frustrated, just says, "Screw it," and starts running right at this bush. And I'm thinking to myself, "Oh God, these guys are good. They're going to scare me. They're trying to freak me out. They're going to break me in. But I don't understand why they would do that because I'm armed to the teeth. I'm in there cowboy style. I have a pistol on each side of my hip." And I was like, why are they doing this? This is, why are they playing around like this? This is kind of dumb, Yeah. But as he was running towards that bush, that's when I seen a hand slowly coming out. And it was a pretty good sized hand. It looked like a baseball glove. And
you saw the hand. And what color was it? What hair was it?
It was black. It was black, and it had shiny, clean hair, like it just got out of the salon. The hair was the way the sun was shining on that hair, it was really shiny and clean looking. And it's probably maybe, if I had to guess, maybe 3 to 4 inches long. It wasn't really, well, I guess that is kind of long, but, yeah, and the arm was huge, like it was a weightlifter's arm, that forearm. I seen the hand, and it grabbed onto a tree. And I could see the arm, and then I started slowly looking at this. It happened kind of like in slow motion, and the hand when it was reaching out to grab that tree, it did it so slow. And as my cousin was still running towards it, and I looked at I saw the hand, the forearm, and then the shoulders, and it was coming up. I didn't see the face because by this time it kind of stood up and then turned around, and when it turned around, it went down, and then it disappeared. And I just stood there like, oh my God, what the heck was that? And then my cousins starts walking back, and they're setting up perimeter. One's guy's going this way to check out this area. Another guy's checking out this area. I'm just standing there frozen. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, maybe my mind is playing tricks on me. Maybe because he said there's one there, I imagined this isn't real what I saw. There's no way this is real. My mind is playing tricks on me. I said, I'm going to ask him what color it is.
Yeah.
And hopefully he says it's brown or it's purple or it's pink or anything but black.
Yeah.
If he says anything but black, I'm going to be all right because that means I imagined it. So he comes back and he's describing what he said, what he saw. What he saw was like a silhouette, the head and the shoulders. And he said it went straight down. It was standing behind that same bush that I saw it. And he said when he said there's one right there, it went straight down. And, of course, I didn't see that part.
How far away from it? How far away from it were you, Big Dog, when all this was happening? How close were you? Give us some proximity.
If I had to estimate, I would say anywhere from maybe 50 yards, about approximately. And I remember when it. What was that?
No, carry on.
Oh, I was going to say when it turned around and took off, it didn't make any sound, no sound at all, and it was like a movie. It looked like a cartoon. It didn't look real. It looked like some sort of computer animated, something like it just didn't. The rules didn't apply to what I saw. I mean, it just was so quiet and it moved so fast when it squatted down. It was gone, and it was just like the tree. You know how like something moves real fast and then the trees just kind of move but there's no sound. So when it put its arm up on that tree, it kind of used that tree to push off, and so the tree moved a little bit, kind of swayed, and. All I seen was the. What was that?
I just want to pause you there, if I may, because there's a couple of things I just want to ask you so I can understand a little bit. So you've got how tall do you think it was in terms of its size?
I was talking about it the other day. It didn't stand straight up.
Yeah.
It was kind of still hunched over. But I mean, it looked like it could have been anywhere from 6 to 7 feet, I guess. Just kind of, it was, like I said, the arm started moving slow, and when it stood up, it would sped up from there. I mean, it was huge. It was a big guy, and I couldn't believe how big and how fast it moved without making no sound at all. I mean, you didn't hear no leaves crunching. You didn't hear no branches breaking. It was just, that's why I was thinking, there's just no way that was real. It was my imagination.
It was about 6 or 7 feet. Could you see it? Could you see its face?
No, I never saw the face. It was like I just saw the hand and the forearm and then the shoulders and then its back and then it was gone. It's like I wasn't fast enough.
Was it all black?
All black.
And
from what I could tell.
Yeah. And what's the closest animal you think it could resemble? Was it like a gorilla or a chimp or something else?
I would say like a gorilla. But a gorilla has kind of that silverish hair too. So I didn't see really anything like that. It just looks like all shiny, clean hair.
A gorilla sometimes can, but of course there are different. I mean, a silverback would have hair like that, but it's not exclusive. It's interesting. So, what one thing that's really struck me when you were just describing that was the locomotion. You said it it looked like a cartoon almost to you. Why did you come to that conclusion, Big Dog?
Because I don't think a person could move like that. There's just no way. It didn't look real when it moved. And
why?
It didn't look like it belonged here. Say that again?
What was it about it that made it not look real? What was it that made it unusual?
And just how fast it moved when it left.
So was it quicker than any other animal you'd seen?
Very quick. Very quick.
So how did you feel? Were you scared? Were you excited? What was your general feeling?
I wanted to go home. I was done.
Why?
Because I mean, it's like it's real now. And I was okay with that footprint, but I wasn't okay with seeing it.
And so you said it was real now. Did you were curious and know you'd seen it? Was that a moment of did it distress you? I mean, or did you go and have a beer? What did you do?
I remember I just kept telling the guys I wanted to go home. I wanted to go home.
What did they do?
Done.
What did they do?
Well, first, my cousin, he was all excited, describing what he saw, and and he sees me standing there, and he's like, "What's wrong, dude?" And I'm like, "What color was it?" And he goes, "It was black." And that's when I just kind of sat there, and he's like, "Why?" And I said, "I saw it." And the guys were acting like I got my cherry popped. Like they were like high-fiving each other. They were like, and I was like, "No, I want to go home. This is not cool. I want to go." And they were like, "Oh, well, calm down, dude. Just get it together, man." I was like, "I want to go. I want to go. I'm done. I'm ready. I had enough." And they're like, I think we had changed only one camera so far, and I think we had a couple more. And I was like, "No, I don't. I mean, somebody's got to walk me out of here. I don't want to do this anymore." And they're like, "Bro, we didn't come all this way, and we didn't walk all this to just leave. We're not gonna leave. You gotta man up, dude, because you're way too big for us to drag you out of here."
So what happened?
Like, what's that?
What happened?
Well, they wanted to keep pushing on, and so they were talking about maybe putting a camera in the area where we just saw it, and I was like, "Man, whatever you guys are gonna do, figure it out. Let's get it done and let's get out of here because I don't want to be here anymore." So they're like, "All right, man, we're just going to move to the next camera, and then we're going to do 2 more cameras, and then we're going to get out of here, all right?" So I'm like, "All right." So we start walking, and we finally get to like one of those pipelines where it's clear on each, and, there's bush on each side, and it's clear in the middle because that's, I guess, where the forest department uses to bring trucks in and run power lines through and everything. So we start walking through there, and man, that sun is just kicking my butt. And I'm just talking about it. Oh my God, this. Oh my God, that. And they're all still excited, but it's starting to get like, "Yeah, man, you already said that part. And you already said this. You already said that." So we finally get to the other camera, and it's right next to a creek. And I'm looking everywhere. My head's on a swivel. I'm starting to feel comfortable because they're like, "It's gone by now. There's no way that it's gonna stick around, and it's gone." So I started to feel a little more calm, So we start walking back down that pipeline, and man, my boots are killing me. Don't ever buy new boots and go for a long walk. That is not a good idea. So, and it's about, I don't know, it had to have been about 100 degrees or pretty close. So I'm running out of water. I'm getting tired. And the guys are just, these guys are all in shape, and they're trailing. They're just walking off and leaving me behind. And they're like, just walk straight and you'll hit the road. And I'm like, all right, I'll just walk my own pace. And you guys just, do your thing. So I'll do mine. And so I put a shirt on my head, and I put water on it. I kind of soaked it in water, and I put it on my head. And the guys, I can hear them talking. They're all talking to each other, and they're walking up further ahead of me. And then I put this shirt over my head, and my peripheral vision is gone now. So by this time, I heard a twig snap, like off to my left side. And I was like, okay, that was weird. I took a couple steps, and then I could hear it was making noise on purpose now. It was, now that I'm by myself, it was paralleling me. So I would take a couple steps, and it would take a couple and then stop when I stopped. So I started thinking to myself, oh my God, it came back. So I slowly turned my head, and I don't see anything there. I'm like, man, I'm freaking out, dude. There's nothing there. I'm going crazy or whatever. So this continues. I keep walking, and it's dragging its feet and stepping on branches and crunching, and it, the ground is really dry, so you can hear everything. And I would put my shirt back over my head, and I just start walking, and then I'd try to look, and then it was getting louder and more obvious, that there was something there, and I'm like, I'm not going to look anymore because I don't want to see it anymore. And then the guys look back every now and then they look back and they see my face. I'm like worried. And so they finally stop, and they're like, hey, what's up, man? And I'm like, it's following me, dude. It's walking off. It's walking in the woods, and it's, paralleling me. And they're like, oh, yeah, they do that. I was like, okay, what else do they do? What do I need to know? What I need more information right now because I'm not good with this. Y'all told me it went away, and now it's following me. And they're like, all right, dude, just calm down, because I was getting aggravated. I was getting mad. I was like, yo, because I didn't really, this is like the first time I like this is the first time I met my cousin, because I never met him before. And then so the people that I was with, I didn't know anybody. So I was starting to get aggravated, like, what else are you guys holding? I need to know everything right now. I need to know everything about Bigfoot that you know right now. And they're like, well, really, we don't know too much about it. And I was like, oh, my God. I thought you guys were, like, professional researchers and this and that. And they're like, look, dude, just sit down, take a chill pill, and just – relax right here. We're going to walk off. We're going to go get the cars, and then we're going to come back. They left me with one guy. So I'm like, all right. I unzip my brand new boots to get a little air and, kind of, sit back and relax. And I'm telling the other guy about what was going on, and then I started asking him about, how he got into Bigfoot and all this other stuff, and we probably sat there for maybe about 10 minutes, and, I'm just chugging bottles of water and trying to, get back 100%, or at least something where I could walk. Because by this time my legs were jello, and I was tired, and my feet were killing me, and I was ready to go home a long time ago. And as we were talking, we got like a whistle from the right side now.
No,
And
what type of whistle was it?
Huh?
Can you do the whistle for me? I mean, what did it sound like?
It you know how, like, when you're not paying attention and you hear a sound, but you're like, I know it was a whistle, but I don't remember exactly how it went, because I remember the guy jumped up and pulled out his pistol.
Wow.
And said, "Let's go." And I was like, okay. So I zipped up my boots, and he's got his gun out, and I was like, oh, is that what we're doing? Should I pull mine out too, or, and he's like, let's just go. Stop talking, let's go. So we start walking, and now we're getting trailed on both sides. There's one on the right and there's one on the left. And the guy's pretty much speed walking. He's like, man, come on, just keep up. Man, I don't know where all that extra energy came from, but I had it. And, the further we got the closer we got to the main road, they seemed to back off. And I remember hearing cars and stuff, and we were kind of like running out of there. Basically, we were getting escorted out. And I remember when I saw that road, I went over there and I got in the middle of the road, got down on my hands and knees and kissed the street, because that's how happy I was to see the road.
Oh, wow. And was there, when you say they were walking parallel, do you feel like it was one or more than one, or what? What do you think?
It was more than one. There was two of them. I would, if I had to guess, because I had one on the left side earlier, and then after we sat down for a while, and then it whistled. The whistle came from the right side, and then we got up and started walking, and now we were getting trailed on both sides. You could hear one walking on the right side, and you could hear another one walking on the left side. They were stepping on branches.
You felt intimidated in that area, and I understand why. What about the other people who you were with? How were they feeling? Were they scared or angry or what?
No, actually they weren't. They were okay, and like I said, they were high-fiving and all happy that I seen it and this and that. And then, but when they split up and it was just me and another guy by ourselves, the other guy was a little worried, where he drew his weapon, And he was like, suck it up, let's get out of here, because, I was like, okay, well, if you're nervous, then I'm going to be nervous too, But, yeah, I remember getting to that road and just giving it a big old kiss.
Very cool. Now, this was, when was this? Was this in 2012, or was it
2012,
earlier?
Yeah, in May 19th.
Have you been back to that area since?
I have, and then when I went back, it was even hotter than I remembered, and I didn't go all the way through. I just went kind of to this one pond area, and I was like, man, I can't do this. The air was so thin, I literally couldn't breathe.
Wow.
It was hot, because I wanted to go back, and I had been planning on going back for a while, and finally manned up and went back, and I couldn't go all the way through because it was just too hot.
Is it somewhere you'd like to go again, do you think?
I would only with my my crew, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm. I think I'd be interested in finding out this area as well. If I'm down in Texas, you'll have to take me, big dog. I want to see it for myself. I'd be very interested. Now, you said that there was another. Mike was saying that there's another encounter that you may have had, which was quite intense. Is that right?
Yeah, there was a time when I was hanging with the boys, and by this time I was getting comfortable going out. Because I remember when we were driving back, I was texting everybody, Bigfoot is real.
Yeah.
The first person I texted was my little sister, and you know, she knew that I was a Bigfoot nerd, you know, since the beginning, you know. And then me to send her a message and say, hey, Bigfoot is real. And she was just like, really? I was like, yeah, I saw it. You know, it was just texting back and forth. And then I was thinking to myself, I'm never going back in the woods again. I'm done. This is it. And then my cousin's like, hey, next month we're going to go change the batteries and SD cards. You want to go? I don't know why, but I said, yeah. And then I was thinking, why did you say yeah? And then a month later, he came to pick me up, and we're driving out there. I felt like, why am I doing this? You said you weren't going to do this. And then I just kept thinking to myself, well, maybe I didn't. Maybe I got to see another one, or I got to see if it was real. I don't know, because I just had this doubt in my mind that it never happened, or I was trying to convince myself it didn't happen, and it was just I was curious again. So yeah, I went out a bunch of times. And there was times where we'd go out and nothing would happen, but then it got more about the people you were going with, you know, and getting away from it all, you know, kind of like a little mini vacation. And yeah, so you know, I met a lot of amazing people, a lot of friends along the way, and you know, I link up with people and go hang out with them. They're like, hey, we're gonna go watching this weekend. You want to go? And I'm like, I'll be there. So I was with this particular group, and we went into this one area where it's only open during certain deer season, and we drove off into this one area, and I remember we drove for a while. This is when I first got the Yeti. That's my truck. And it was tough enough to get back where we needed to go. And, yeah, so we sit there and lollygag while the sun is up. We find a nice spot, park. We don't set a campfire. We don't pull out chairs. We just sit in one area. And, you know, when it's daytime, we just sit there and rip on each other and, you know, just have a good time. And when it gets dark, it's game on, you know. We just sit there dead quiet, don't say anything. No noises, no talking, no nothing. Just. And I happened to turn on my recorder that day because this place was really, really spooky. I mean, it was so bad the roads were, I mean, it wasn't even a road. It was basically a trail, and it was, like, grown over, and, you know, that's why this truck was able to make it through that area, because a regular vehicle probably wouldn't have made it. So we just sat there, and, you know, you could hear coyotes and, you know, stuff moving around, and then all of a sudden this smell starts coming in. And one of the guys is like, hey, we got a squatch. And I was like, oh, no. And in the recorder, you can hear it walking around. And then you hear a branch get broken down from a tree. And, I mean, we had probably been there about a couple of hours. And, yeah, and a branch gets broken down. And the bad thing about the recording is you can hear me curse a little, you know, whisper some bad words.
Well, that's human nature, I think, in those circumstances. Yeah.
What's that?
That's human nature in those circumstances. I understand that.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I wanted to get. By this time, I was, you know, figuring out that those two little pistols weren't going to do anything. So I had a backpack with something a little heavier. And when I heard that the branches getting broken and everything, and I'm looking at my friends, they're looking at me like, wow. And I'm like, no. that fear came back again. Yeah, I was scared again. I was like, I want my backpack, and they're shaking their head like, no, don't. And yeah, I just basically walked around, tore a couple branches, and then just left. And it got quiet for a couple more hours. Nothing ever happened, after that night. But yeah, that was one of the scariest because it was so close, and I had night vision, a night vision scope, so it's made to see long distances. So it was not working good in this area because we were really close. The bush was really close to us, and yeah, so it didn't work that good. I couldn't see. It wasn't working good well in that area. I mean, I could see down the street really good, but it wouldn't see close. Everything was too blurry, so that's what made me even more nervous because I was like, I got this night vision now. I'll be able to see whatever's coming up on me. So that made me have to change my game, where I had to get like the thermal to see close now. But at that time, it was pretty scary.
What about the others? What did they feel? What did they think of it? The other people who were with you, were they excited, or did they again sort of go, "Yay, we're scared," or high five? What were they doing?
They were kind of calm, and they were just like, because what they say is like I said, I go with different people. Everybody does it different. They say if you sit there quiet, they'll try to get your attention, start throwing rocks, start doing something, and if you keep ignoring them, they'll get closer and closer and closer until they're basically standing right in front of you. And so we call that kind of like Bigfoot chicken. Yeah, I'm usually the chicken when it gets a little too close for comfort. But yeah, so they were calm. And they do it all the time. They're just like, shaking their head like, relax. It's just right now. It's just trying to scare us. Well, it's working. So yeah, so that.
Were those your two encounters, or has anything else happened to you that you think is of significance that you want to share with us?
Well, there was something that happened in New Mexico. It was kind of weird, and I really don't talk about it because I don't know what it was. And it doesn't make sense either, and it looked like a cartoon. There was something running up one of the mesas. It was black, but I saw it really fast, and I remember the arms looked like they were spinning. Like, you see how like Sonic the Hedgehog does his little roll thing that he does? Where it's kind of like, the arms look like that, but it was throwing dirt and stuff everywhere, kind of like a dune buggy going up a mesa. So I just kind of saw it that. And I was like, that's nothing. And then I went and took a nap. And then when I came back, there were some people wearing, they had these binoculars, these big old binoculars. I mean, they had to have been like $2,000 or $3,000 binoculars because they were huge. And I was like, what are you guys looking at? And they said, something ran up that mesa an hour earlier. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, it was black. And I was like, okay. Y'all saw it? And they're like, yeah. And so I got the binoculars and I looked at what they were looking at, and you could see the ground had been disturbed. And that was crazy. So like I said, it happened really quick, and I didn't even register what I was looking at. And I mean, it probably, I'm not saying it was Bigfoot because I didn't see for sure, but what I thought I saw and somebody else confirmed. They never said it was a Bigfoot too, but something ran up that mesa. It was crazy.
Weird. So let's focus in a little bit on the Bigfoot. We can come back to that if we have time, but I want to see if there's any crossover. So, obviously this moment that happened in 2012 was very dramatic for you. Then you had this other strange occurrence. You must have thought about this. What do you, Big Dog, what do you think Bigfoot is?
I would think, I think that there's something that's been here before we've been here. They've been here for a long time is what I'm trying to say. And I think they're comfortable in the way they live, and, and they're better off without us. So, they don't need to talk to us and be around us. But I think it's just something that's been here for a long, long time. I mean, you think about, the history, the people that are cave drawings and then Native American, they have stories about them or encounters with them. And then, when the settlers came in, I'm sure they started seeing weird stuff. And, it's just throughout history, they've been around. And probably longer before that.
Do you think that they are an ape or a man, something in between, or something else? What's your view about their level of intelligence?
Oh, I think they're super intelligent, but I think they're really, really intelligent for their survival. I mean, they couldn't come over here and, do what I do in the shop. I don't know. I'd be kind of insulted if they could. But at the same time, I couldn't do what they do in the woods. You know what I mean? We have different obligations. Like theirs is just to survive and hide. And I guess mine is to survive and, make money and eat and then survive and live. So our priorities are different, but, that's what makes them so good at what they do and, vice versa.
When I'm listening to you, what I get is that you have a respect for them. Would you say that?
Yeah. Very respect.
And when you think when I listen to you, would you say that you are if you saw one again now, what would you do differently from your previous encounters?
I just want to get a good look up and just look at it up and down. Maybe give them a fist pump or something, or like a dab, and just walk off. And then I'm going off to Loch Ness and see if I can find me some water monsters.
Why water monsters? Because they're less confrontational, do you think?
Yeah, I could just sit there on the shore and just wait. I guess I would just, my curiosity would be fulfilled, and I would just be all right, because it's just I just want that perfect sighting. If it's face to face and and I live through it, well, so be it. Even if it's face to face and he's like, I'm gonna take your arms off now and beat you with them, I guess that'd be okay too.
Oh no!
We all got to go sometime, and I'd rather do that than be sick in a hospital bed and can't even move. So, yeah, I'll be all right with that.
Well, I've got to say, I don't wish that on you, Big Dog. We all want a glorious exit, and there's something to be said for burning out rather than fading away. I get that, but not like that. So I hope, but I hope it's in a more pleasant way. Maybe sat by that lake and you see it from a distance. How about that? Does that work?
Yeah, that'll work.
I wanted to turn to another couple of things. You're involved in, my understanding is that you're involved in the Footstock event. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that and what you do there and where it is?
Yeah, I'm with the Squatch Dogs, it's a group where we basically we want to know what other researchers are doing. We want to know what everybody's doing out there. You know, how they're doing their research. We want to know, and then we tried. That's what Footstock came in, and it was mostly with Ann and Kenny, and then we hang out with Russell and Michelle. They're Southeast Bigfoot Research, and I hope I got it right because they're gonna be mad at me. So yeah, they started all that, and it was just basically to bring everybody together to kind of swap stories and talk about their experiences and what's working for you and what just try different things and just get everybody to mix it up. And you know how we always say the Bigfoot community is just and it can get really bad, especially on Facebook, and then you get people who are just horrible. And so yeah, this is to just get people that are serious about it and really want to share their experiences or information or what they do to do their thing. And we usually do it somewhere out in Sam Houston area. I think they're looking into trying different spots or whatever, or just keep it interesting, because a lot of you try to keep it fun, where it's not the same thing all the time, and it's always changed up, and hopefully it gets really big where where we can, because we keep it small just to keep the people that are really enthusiastic about the subject hanging out with each other and meeting each other. And because I met a lot of people, like I said, I've met a lot of people in conferences and with hanging out with different groups, and it's fun to it's kind of like a birthday party where everybody's there, all your friends are there,
Yeah.
It's really fun.
And when is it?
Oh, we have them at different times. I don't even know if we have. It's still early in the year. I don't even think they have anything planned out yet. But in the past, and it's invitation only. So if you don't get invited, you can't come.
Yeah, right. It's like a little private thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But we're working on some other stuff too. And like I said, Ann Walls is like the mastermind, and she's always coming up with something fun to do.
Do you do research with them as the Squatch Dogs then, or is it, do you do your own thing?
I like I said, I link up with a bunch of different people. I do go out with Ann and Kenny, and I've gone out with Russell and Michelle. We've all gone out. We just go camp out somewhere. And sometimes, like I said, we don't even really look. We'll put out cameras or we'll put out recorders and stuff like that, but we'll mostly sit around the fire and just hang out,
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll walk through trails and, look for evidence during the day. We try, like I said, we try different stuff all the time. There's times where I go with other groups, or I'll hang out with my old crew. And there's times where I just have a long week and I'll jump in my truck and just cruise somewhere and pull out the tent and just go by myself. I know a lot of people are like, hey, you shouldn't go by yourself, this and that. But sometimes everybody's busy and a lot of, I can't just wait for anybody, somebody to go with me. Or if I did that, I would never go anywhere. So, a lot of times I just jump in the truck and go exploring, go hang out somewhere, or see who's close, who wants to join me or whatever.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah, so that's what we do.
what's next for you? What do you see yourself doing over the next few months?
Same thing. Just trying to link up with different people. I know we got the Bigfoot conference is coming in May. And I always, like I said, I always try to link up with people, meet people, hang out with people, and that's always fun. Yeah, it was kind of weird when people were recognizing me or whatever, because I used to do podcasts. I think in 2013, I think I would do a couple, or like co-host with a couple of different ones, and then I'd walk into a Bigfoot conference and they'd be like, "Hey, Big Dog, where do I know you from? Did I do your radio, or do you know me from the hood? How do you know me as Big Dog?" But yeah, so that, like I said, that nickname stuck. So it was weird when people were saying that name at Bigfoot conferences now.
All right, cool. And I know you're active at the Southeast Texas Bigfoot Conference. Is that particularly one that you enjoy, or is it nearby your house? What are you involved in that in any way?
I'm kind of like a volunteer. I'm not hosting or anything, but I know the people. They let me hang with them. Yeah, so
very cool.
Yeah.
We're nearly at the end of the show, so I just haven't really had a couple of questions, if I may, because one of the points you mentioned earlier on in the interview was that you change your gear as we all do when we first start out. We're not really sure, and we learn from experience. Even if we're good woodsmen and that, we adapt what we do. I understand you've been involved in some of the parabolic side of things and sound things. I mean, is that something that especially interests you after hearing those whistles, or is it just something that you like to be geeky about on the tech?
Yeah, I'm kind of, because audio is kind of like what I do for a living. So when I was able to sort of apply that into going out in the woods, I jumped all over that. And, me and Mike would talk about different recorders, and, we would, talk about all different ways to do it, and, stuff like that. And, I started buying parabolic dishes, and then I made one that instead of it being like in one direction, you could just set it up and it would record in all directions. And then people were sending me audio, and I was getting some weird stuff, some crazy stuff. Even from Mike was sending me stuff, and I remember my first experience with the parabolic mic. I heard something whispering in the bush, so that was weird. I don't know if it was ghost or if it was squatches. I don't know what it was, but all I know, it was distinctly two things talking to each other, and it was weird. And the person was, how when you got your own toy and you don't want to share, and he was kind of being greedy with it, and then he was pointing it in a certain direction, and he made this face, and he goes, "You want to try it?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I did. I pointed in the same direction, and I made a face too, and he goes, "Can you hear them?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "I just wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy." It was weird. It was strange. So I nerded out on that pretty good, but I haven't been keeping up with it as much as I used to. So it kind of faded out, but I've been trying to get back into it because I go out by myself a lot of times now, and I get weird stuff on the recordings, and I was kind of sending it off to people to check, to amplify it for me and stuff like that, which is something I used to be able to do myself. And hopefully I get all my computers updated or get new ones and I can do it all over again. But it's just, time consuming to go through 8 hours of recording.
Yeah, it's a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort, but you've had some. You've been doing this research, and in the time you've done it, you've had some amazing adventures and encounters. And we've kind of run out of time now, and we could obviously talk for a lot longer. And and I appreciate, and Mike does as well, everything that you've done and the fact that you've come on the show and told us those very intense encounters. We're really, really grateful for them. So I'd just like to say on behalf of Mike and I, thank you ever so much, Felipe Big Dog Mendoza, for being on the show tonight. We appreciate you.
Oh, yeah, man, no problem. I enjoyed it. And I still got lots more. I didn't even talk about the lights.
No, well, that's for another time. We've had an hour, and that was the time we promised you. So we've got more time. We'll have more conversations, I'm sure, man.
Yeah, lots. You guys run out of interesting folk. Give me a call.
Will do. Thank you ever so much. Thank you very, very much, Felipe, for being on the show. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it for tonight. Next week, we'll be back talking about UFOs. Thank you and good night.